welcome to Rock On Spotlight, your first stop for great independent music from all over the globe. I'm your host, Sherry Emily.
I'm your co-host, Sheldon Snow.
We here at Rock On Spotlight want to give you all an outlet to shine and be heard. So if you want to book a night with us on the show, please write to me, sherry.emily@gmail.com. Send an MP3 of your music for review. We really appreciate it. In the meantime, you can give us a visit at facebook.com, WRockRadio. How you doing tonight, Sheldon?
I'm doing well. You know, every time we do this show, because I'm on the West Coast, and you are, I think, 2 hours ahead of me in Nashville.
Yes.
And I, even though I'm not blonde, I keep having these blonde moments of wanting to ask you about the future. You know, like what stock tips should I act on, that kind of thing.
Kellogg. For real, Kellogg.
I like Frosted Flakes.
Well, Kellogg is a company. Kellogg, Johnson & Johnson, and BC. Is that the gas?
So they did well today. Is that right? I mean, you're 2 hours ahead of me. I want to be able to capitalize
really funny,
on your future knowledge.
I can't tell you. How you been? Did you go from A to B to C or C to B today?
Yeah, well, I think it's C to D this time, but it's a shorter trip. I'm here. I'm not out of wind in doing so we're all good.
Okay, so you didn't have to run today. You got to be able to walk,
no,
right?
I could walk.
Okay, today. That sounds great. So
they gave me a better office in a corner closer to the studio.
That's wonderful. Is it good sound?
Yeah, of course it is.
Okay, that's what matters the most, right? And because we have a great guest you have invited tonight, and why don't you tell us a little bit about this guest?
Yes, we do. We have JAYSON Angove, the frontman for the Sacramento area-based band Humble Wolf. Hi, JAYSON. Welcome to the show.
Hey, guys. How are you guys?
Hi, JAYSON. Nice to have you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
I have to give some serious props to JAYSON. A couple of years ago, I went to Sacramento to do some promotional work, and I with the station that I was with, and I took the Amtrak down. It got into Sacramento at 6 o'clock in the morning, and this is when Humble Wolf were recording Black and White, doing 13-hour days in the recording studio, plus everything else that they do during their day gigs. And JAYSON showed up at 6 o'clock in the morning at the train station to pick me up.
Aw, that's sweet.
I remember that.
That's a very nice thing. So, JAYSON, when did you know that you were first going to be a musician? How old were you? When did it all start? When did it all start, and when did it all happen?
I started playing music when I was 6. I did 10 years of classical lessons, but I don't think I ever thought during the piano lesson time of my life that I was going to be a musician. I wanted to be a computer engineer. But I started really getting into music like at 14 or 15, and it became like an obsession. And like by 18 to 20, I was trying to do anything but play music, but it kept on just coming back and coming back. So I couldn't find it anymore. And about 22, 23, I took the plunge, and I'm 28 now, and I play music full time, and I have been for almost 5 years.
Wow. Well, you're very good at it.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
You know, and I just wanted to go back a bit, you know, to that time when you picked me up, because and I didn't realize that you guys had been doing 13-hour days in the studios. I really do appreciate that, by the way, you picking me up at the station. But I was tired from the train trip. I couldn't sleep, and you guys were recording at the time, and I said, well, I'm going to have to miss out on that. And it was later on in the day, I get a phone call, and I answer the phone. I hear music on the other end of the phone, and I say hello, hello, and nobody answered. I'm just hearing this music, and I just realized that JAYSON Angove's cell phone was pocket calling me while they were recording Black and White. So I just kind of hung on for a while, and I'm sure that after a while you might have gotten your phone might have needed to have been recharged that evening, because I just kind of hung on and listened to the recording for a bit, and then I was thrilled when I received the album, because it sounds so much better than the muffled pocket recording.
That's awesome. That'd be nice to have some big musician pocket dial me.
it's like all of a sudden you hear like just, I know this song. What is it? And it's somebody on stage just pocket dialed you by accident.
That's what I'm saying. That'd be kind of cool. Don't you think, Sheldon? Really cool. Well, obviously it happened to you.
Who else is in the band, Jason?
We have David Albertson plays bass, and on the new record he plays harmonica, banjo, mandolin, just whatever, just anything with strings he plays. And then we have Chris Winger who plays lead guitar and also sings. And then on the drums we have Mr. Jesse Sherwood, and I love the way he just slams drums. He's a fantastic drummer.
And who writes the songs?
I write a bulk of our stuff, but I don't ever just take credit that way. I always consider it a group effort. I always say that I draw the blueprint, but the band builds the house. And, it's never identical to the blueprint after we start to build it. It changes and kind of evolves a lot. There's just like a member will bring in an idea, and then we'll build off of it. But I tend to bring in a lot of ideas because I work in a recording studio, so I'll sit there by myself and start writing songs and recording it so I can hear what it sounds like and then show it to the guys, and then we kind of build it from there.
Well, Humble Wolf kind of started by accident in a way. You did a recording in your home, and somebody had heard it and decided to take you out to Indiana and record some music, and then you kind of thought that was going to be it for that, right?
I did. The whole thing was crazy because the very first Humble Wolf record I recorded in my apartment, it was like a goodbye because I was moving to Australia, and I recorded this like 18 or 20 track album that's just actually on YouTube. Somebody uploaded it to YouTube. I have no idea who posted it there. And it has like short stories that I've written that my friend narrated, and it has all of these precursor to final Humble Wolf songs that were recorded later. And I went to Australia and I came back and I got a job working at a casino doing surveillance. And my friend in Indiana had showed my first record to his friend, and the guy said, "What does this guy do now?" And he goes, "Well, he doesn't play music at all right now. He works at a casino." So he contacted me and said, "If I flew you out to Indiana and paid to record a record, would you do it?" And I said, "Yes, but I just got a job and I can't take time off to do that." Well, luckily, I ended up being laid off within a week. And so I said, "Well, I'm not doing anything right now. I will be there." And they paid for a plane ticket. And
one of those cases when somebody can say, "Luckily, I got laid off."
Oh yeah, I was absolutely destitute. Had nowhere to. I had like no money saved. But I just hopped on a plane and flew out to Indiana and recorded the record with a couple friends. I'm really happy that happened.
Sherry?
What would you say that has kept you going through all these years?
Oh, man. I don't know. It's like something you can't turn off. No matter how much you want to, no matter how much you try to flee from it, it kind of just, it meets up with you always, always, and always, and always.
No,
so I just kind of embrace it.
Where is your band touring now? I mean, where are you headed?
We're working on a new EP right now. I was in the studio earlier today. We're at the final stage. We're doing all of the final vocals. 2 songs that are almost done completely. And then we have 3 more songs to do for vocals. All the instruments are tracked. And then we're playing a couple of festivals in the Sacramento area this summer. Excuse me. And then what we're going to do is we're going to end up start playing out of the area a lot over the remainder of this year. But next year our goal is to barely play in Sacramento. We want to get out of California.
Yes, very good.
Get out of the area code. Get out of the area code.
Yeah.
Are you going to head to Tennessee?
We travel a lot, but not super far. We definitely want to start traveling a lot further, going up north up to Seattle, and we've been down to L.A. many times. We want to go more east, too. We've never really gone that direction at all.
You need to come to Tennessee.
Yeah, I would love to go to Nashville in that area.
Your music would fit. For real.
I'll take that.
It's fitting. Trust me. Isn't just country here, you know.
Oh, I know. I know that Cage the Elephant and a couple other rock bands live out there.
Just a few.
Just a few.
Quite a few, actually.
Yeah. I think Nashville has a much better music scene than L.A. L.A. is just such a awful place, I feel.
It's a meat grinder.
It is definitely a meat grinder.
You're talking about the new EP that you're working on. Is this that you working with Sean Stack at Fat Cat Studios?
Always and Forever. He's my favorite.
Absolutely.
I'm actually working on 2 EPs. I'm working on another solo EP with Sean, and I'm working on the Humble Wolf EP.
Well, and talk about Sean, because this is a cat that you've been working with Paper Thin was the album that I knew that I first aired from you guys, and then, of course, Black and White. Talk about Sean Stack and Fat Cat Record Studios.
Paper Thin was recorded. That was the only one that had.
That's right. That was recorded in Indiana.
And that was with Dan Middleton, who is also a fantastic engineer, who I like very much and haven't seen in a long time. He has a fantastic studio out there. I worked with Sean since I think Black and White was the very first album we did together. But I've done tons of live video, live from the studio things. I've done another solo album, EP, 4 records I've worked on with Sean so far.
That's amazing.
And I would do more. He's so good at what he does. And
what makes him so good? What is it about Sean Stack and Fat Cat Recording Studios that you dig?
I think the most important thing, besides quality, which is always number one, and his is world class, easy. That's not even a question in my mind. But is finding an engineer who knows what you want and you connect with really well. And he and we hang out outside of the studio, and I really enjoy him as a person, and we talk about engineering and music all the time, and we have a lot of similar music interests. So he knows exactly what I want, and sometimes he's even doing something to a mix before I've even asked him to do it.
That's wonderful.
Well, one of the things that we've talked about before is that, I am a very tough DJ when it comes to my shows, and I hear stuff that all the time where you have good vocals, good guitar, good bass, but the drums suck.
Yeah, and the drums make or break a recording.
And he pays attention to that.
His drum sound is my favorite. I love the way Sean makes drum sound.
Well, you know what? Let's hear some of this, because I know the audience is waiting. They're on their toes. We're talking about it. So we have some music that we want everybody to listen to tonight. We have 8 Years Old, Be Yourself, Best I Can Be, Breakdown, and How Deep This Goes. Tell us what song you'd like us to play first, and then tell us a little bit about that song, Jason.
I'd love to play 8 Years Old first, if possible.
Okay.
And this is like one of the only songs in my life that I've written that is, it's not vague enough to where it can kind of relate to a lot of different situations. It is a true story from a moment in my life that's kind of always hung in the back of my mind. And I decided to actually put it down to words. And it was a really hard song to write.
I felt
because it was really emotionally draining.
Yes, I felt this one today when I listened to it. Really, you can feel your deepness about it. It's wonderful. So this is 8 Years Old by Jason Angove. Enjoy.
Sound of violence. it up. It's reverse and then we drive. And we fly backwards through the night. And I know something isn't right. And we crash. And all of these shards of glass rain like diamonds in her hair. And I'm bleeding, but I don't care. And she cries. I hear when she cries. And I'm only 8 years old. And I know things I shouldn't know. And it's sad. I know that it's sad. And I'm only 8 years old. And I don't know which way to go. And he's 3. Looking there up the road, I see my father coming close, and I'm scared. I'm scared. He grabs my mother by the hair. She's trying to fight, but he doesn't care. And we drive back home. We drive. It's 3 a.m. and I can hear the sound of sirens.
Jason Angove, 8 years old. Welcome back to Rock on Spotlight with our special guest. Jason, that was awesome.
Very cool stuff.
Thank you.
That was beautiful. I love that song.
I want to talk to you about, I know that you are not a political guy. You try to avoid it as much as possible. But you wrote a song that's on Black and White called This Should Scare You.
Yes.
And that is political.
Very political.
Why that song?
Every once in a while, like, something will happen, and I'm sure that it outrages a bunch of people, and I had just read a report about minimum wage and the actual hours needed to work per week to actually make some sort of living on a minimum wage was way beyond 40 hours a week. And in fact, there wasn't a single state in the United States where working 40 hours a week on minimum wage would provide somebody a quality of life that's considered by the U.S. government to be a minimum standard of living. And but it's just funny because it's called minimum wage.
Amen.
And so I was just pissed. I was just pissed off. So I remember that was the inspiration for that song, and other things were happening at the time, and I just kind of wrote around it as well.
So all your rights are real?
I try to never, ever make stuff up. I try to always be as true as I can with my writing.
That's wonderful. That's going to go very far in your music. You know that, right?
I hope so. It's also easier for me to talk about stuff I know about rather than try to make something up. I'm not good at making stuff up.
What is the process that you go through when writing a song?
It varies. I get asked this question a lot, and I wish I had some fantastic answer to give, but I find that sometimes it starts with an idea that's just vocals, or sometimes it starts with I wrote this neat little music part, and then I'll start just kind of throwing words at a wall and see what sticks. And I find that there's no consistency to it. It's different every time. And then after I have a basic foundation of the song, then I play it a lot to kind of find its best flow, or when I do play, I don't have to think about it as much. I can just go from start to finish, and it always feels good to play through.
Now, if you could, are you signed? Let's go there first. Are you signed, or are you strictly independent?
I'm pretty independent. Humble Wolf technically plays for an indie label out of Indiana,
Okay.
that we've been affiliated with, but we do everything ourselves.
Well,
They-
it's
they
just for
pretty much
distribution,
handle our-
right?
Yeah, they just handle our distribution. They don't do anything else.
Right. So if someone wanted to sign you, would you be interested in something like that?
I think so.
Okay.
It just depends on the deal and what's going into it. Because there are so many tools now to be able to do it on your own.
Right. Definitely.
Especially since when you have time to do it on your own, why not do it for yourself?
Well,
That's
and
true.
there are established artists now that are pulling
Yeah.
away from labels and doing it on their own because of public funding, Kickstarter, that kind of thing that enables them to do so, or through their own resources or whatever. And if they have the following, the fan base, why not, right?
That's true.
Absolutely. I completely agree with that. And I've seen some artists get very successful. One of my friends, James Cavern from Sacramento, who's fantastic, he just raised $9,000 to record a record.
That's wonderful.
So, I mean, like, there's definitely people, and my other friend, Rebecca Peters from Sacramento, she just moved to LA, but she did the same thing. I think she raised $6,000. I think it's completely doable, and now you don't have to pay astronomical studio costs. You can get a really decent product for something a lot better than spending $1,200 a day to be in a studio.
Right. Right. So what are your long-term goals?
Keep playing music until my hands don't work.
Attaboy.
Great answer. Well, I want to have it put an extra song in tonight, so if it's okay if we can play one a little early, like right now.
Sure.
Would you mind?
Let's do it.
Okay. So we just played 8 Years Old. So we have Be Yourself, Best I Can Be, Breakdown, and How Deep This Goes. So
Let's do Breakdown.
Breakdown. What's that about, hon?
I have a friend whose dad passed away whenever he was in his house, and he spent the last couple of years taking care of his dad. His dad had a heart transplant, survived 2 different types of cancer, had 2 heart attacks, just been through so much stuff. And my friend had to deal with his dad's estate whenever his dad passed away, and he didn't give himself any time to grieve. His dad had a big 5-acre property house. His dad collected old cars. The whole property was full of cars, and he had a barn that was 2 or 3 stories tall. That he had to go through all of this stuff, and at the same time, he didn't give himself any time to grieve, or as I call it, break down and just kind of let everything just happen, soak in, so you can, recover and move forward.
Wow. So this is Breakdown by JAYSON Angove.
Just when it's getting better, just when it's getting worse, just when you think it's over, just when you need it most, you are constantly cleaning out the closet that you built. Just when you think you need it, just when you don't need more, just the way you say it, just what you came here for. You are constantly missing all the life you have to live. But you are getting so much better now. You are getting so much clearer now. Break down, don't make me say it. Break down, and all I want for you to do, just break down. getting so much better now. You are getting so much clearer now. Break down, don't make me say it. Just break down.
What a
Very
beautiful,
nice.
beautiful song. That
We've talked about the music scene before in Sacramento, which is the area where you're at, and not just the music scene, but the decline in the music scene. I mean, it's Sacramento is known for for bands like Papa Roach and Tesla, but things have changed a bit, and so what I would like to know is that before you put a song on an album, are you able to get out? Are there enough venues for you to get out there and to experiment with the song and see how the audience reacts before you put it on an album?
I used to worry about that a lot. I used to, perform songs in front of people to see how it did, and now I just don't care. I'm at a point where, like, if I like it enough, and it's something that means something to me, I'm going to put it on a record, whether somebody thinks it's the greatest song they've ever heard or not.
That's wonderful. So what's the greatest obstacle you've had to overcome?
Finding a way to make a living as a full-time musician.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's it's really interesting because there's so many avenues that you can do as a musician that I don't think people are aware of. So I teach private music lessons at a school in Roseville, which is just outside of Sacramento, and I also work as a recording engineer. And so you wear a lot of hats. I teach 4 instruments. I teach guitar, bass, piano, and drum.
Wow, that's wonderful.
But then I play drums in a cover band, so I'm in casinos every weekend playing drums, and then during the weekdays I will drive out to like Santa Clara and different places, and I'll play grand piano in a steakhouse for 4 hours, or I'll do any private parties or gigs like that. I do a lot of those.
Well, and speaking of parties, this is a trend that's happening in the United States now called the house gigs, and you and I have talked about this as well, because that's where you can actually. You don't make a lot. I mean, you don't get any money for being there, but you can take your merchandise and you get one-on-one contact with your
really
audience.
Great.
Where if you're in a club, half the time you're tearing down after a gig and everybody's leaving, and you don't really get to talk to your audience. But in this way, you do.
Mm-hmm. I love that about that. I also found different avenues that I don't think other musicians are really aware of. Like, I'll play weird things like antique fairs, or I'll play in a restaurant for 3 hours, and people will talk to me afterwards, and they'll say, do you have your own music? And then, which always starts a conversation with, actually, I do have my own music, and which will lead to, I usually just give away my records. A lot of my, like my solo record, I don't think I've sold a single copy. I don't try to sell it. It's something I like to give away to people. So if someone wants to hear it, That's I would much rather have them listen to it than try to sell something for $5 or whatever. So I make my living playing,
Right.
and so I'm not concerned about selling records. As long as I sell enough records, I guess to pay for the recording costs, I don't really care.
And talk a little bit about the Sac music scene. What's it like now? Has it improved at all since the last time? We last spoke about a year ago. Has anything changed?
Greatly improved. It has really become a strong community, which makes me so happy to say, because the last time we talked, it wasn't. A lot of bands were competitive, and
clubs were closing down at the same time.
They were. Tons of clubs were closing down, and a lot of places have opened recently, and people are going out to shows. It's still not incredible, but it's definitely better than it was last time we spoke, which is so great to say. It's so nice to see people going out and supporting local music.
And I want to give some credence to Eric Chun for helping to support the local scene there in Sacramento. It's helping get things going again.
He has done a great job. And there have been other people too outside of that circle who have worked really hard to make people interested in music. And it's just been like a lot of bands like helping each other, sharing, not fans, but like playing shows together and introducing each other or introducing their fans to other bands. And there's just a really good social network right now of people who are very supportive, and it's been really good for everybody. It's helped the scene grow as a whole.
What's your biggest stage blooper?
This is kind of a dumb one, I guess, but I felt so awful about it. We played Sacramento's concert in the park a few years ago, and we just played it a few weeks ago too. It's a great gig. We played in front of 5,500 people, but I was so nervous about the last one we played when we first did it, and I had three Red Bulls. And no. I was really jittery and
just a little amped up, were you?
I was totally amped up. And the worst part, though, was we were playing with two bands that I love that are Sacramento bands. One of them is called Heroes Last Mission, and the other one is struck my pen. Is the Brodies. And I was super excited, and I was talking to the audience, and I said, "I'm so excited because we're playing with three awesome Sacramento bands in front of a couple thousand people." And it's not what I meant at all. I was just really jittery, so I started talking really fast, and that's what came out. And that was a great Freudian slip. Yeah.
Three awful Sacramento bands.
Yeah.
That's funny. Well, we have more music we want to play, Jason. Now,
Okay.
Sheldon just corrected me, and the name of your band is Humble Wolf, correct?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's the band that I play. The music you have right now, I believe, is just from my solo album.
Okay. So we're doing good.
I did not know that.
Okay, so we have How Deep This Goes,
Mm-hmm.
Best I Can Be, and Be Yourself we haven't played yet, right?
Be Yourself will be good, I think.
I love that one. I like
Me
Best I
too.
Can Be. I like them all. They're all great, and I'm sure the audience is having a great time listening to this style of music. Which, by the way, what is this style of music? What do you call it?
It's definitely indie, more of like a folk edge to it. It's definitely way more mellow than a lot of the Humble Wolf stuff I do, which is definitely rockier, but still has like some singer-songwriter elements to it.
Wonderful. So we're going to play Be Yourself. Tell us a little bit about that.
That's a song I wrote that I found that until you let everything go, it's hard to truly own yourself and get to know yourself, especially if you're always surrounded by people or relationships. You don't ever get a chance to just kind of hang out with yourself one-on-one and get to know how you are. And so it was just kind of like about letting everything go and excuse me, just really get to know yourself better.
And smelling the roses, right?
No, absolutely.
Be Yourself by Jason Angove.
Until you've lost everything, you can't really own yourself. Take your life in a new direction. Learn your limits and learn yourself. They say that life is short, but maybe that's all I'm doing. They tell me to wait my turn, but who knows if it's gonna come? I need to take a little time to be myself, if that's alright. Is that alright? Our dreams rattle in our ears, but we can be helpless to its call. Your life needs a change. Take a chance, answer that call. I still remember what they said to me. They say that life is short, but maybe that's all I'm doing. They tell me to wait my turn, but who knows if it's gonna come? I need to take a little time to be myself, if that's alright. Is that alright? They say that life is short, but maybe that's all I'm doing. They tell me to wait my turn, but who knows if it's gonna come? I need to take a little time to be myself, if that's alright. Is that alright? Is that alright with you?
Love it. Beautiful. You have a wonderful voice there, Jason.
Thank you.
Really. I can't wait to hear the whole band, because Sheldon was telling me all about it. It's kind of a different rock feel to it.
Yeah, it's just different. Different musicians, different feel, but good. I mean, I really enjoy it anyway.
Well, we still have 2 more songs, and I want to play out with one of your songs. So why don't we go ahead and play one more, so we can play catch up, and then we can talk to you a little bit more before the end of the show. Is that okay?
Sounds good to me.
Okay, so we have played 8 Years Old, Be Yourself, Breakdown, right? Now we have Best I Can Be and How Deep This Goes. Which one would you like to play next?
Let's do Best I Can Be.
Okay, and tell us a little bit about that.
This was a song that I was kind of having a hard time just in life in general. I'm sure everyone does. And it was kind of like, not a self-motivator, but, it was like a promise to people, a promise to be a better person, and also to not let life be so serious, and remember to have fun every once in a while and not take yourself so serious. I definitely have been guilty of taking myself way too serious, and so I definitely do everything I can now.
Don't we all?
Yeah, and I definitely don't do that anymore. I haven't for a couple of years. I try to be as silly as possible, and as I say, I'm not very good at adulting, so I'm trying not to adult so hard.
Now you sounded like my daughter.
Yeah.
Mom, I don't like adulting.
Yeah,
I like that.
So I definitely try not to adult. I only adult once a month for half an hour to make sure I have enough money for the month and that all my bills are paid, and then the adulting turns off.
I love it. This is Best I Can Be by Jason Angove. Enjoy.
Then have a beer.
And if you're looking too hard, you're gonna see what you wanna see. And if you're thinking too hard, you're gonna overcomplicate. You got a sharp mind in that head and a good heart in your chest. Please don't work too hard, my dear, and give your mind some rest. But if you study too hard, you're gonna be where you wanna be. And if you're laughing too hard, well, that's alright with me. And the laughter that you have is what the world needs. Keep the laughter in your heart and your mind on your sleeve. Don't pay no mind to what the people say. Don't pay no mind. Help is on the way. Don't pay no mind to what the people say. Don't pay no mind. Help is on the way. But if you're working too hard, your life will just pass you by. And if you're sharing your heart, I hope you're sharing your mind. I will try to be better, dear. I will try to be a bit more sincere. I will try to be the best that I can be.
Beautiful.
Oh, I like that.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Where can our listeners find out more about Jason Angove and Humble Wolf in particular?
You can find more about Jason Angove at jasonangove.com. And then Humble Wolf has a website too, which is humblewolf.com. We're also on Facebook as well. You can find us all over the internet.
As an independent artist, just one more question. How do you define success?
This is my favorite question because someone's asked me once, how
did.
did you realize that you had finally made it where you could actually be a musician and that you could support yourself playing music? And my answer was when ramen was what became a choice. Whenever I didn't have to eat ramen, I could eat ramen if I wanted to.
Oh, spam and ramen. You know, yeah.
That's funny. If there were some new artists that came to you for some advice, what would you tell them? What would, if they wanted to be a big musician or do what you're trying to do? What would you tell them?
It's not impossible.
Good answer.
And you should do it because you want to, not because you feel obligated to. You should always play for yourself first and enjoy it. And if you truly enjoy it, then why not chase it? You only get to live once, and as far as I know, life is the longest thing I'm going to be doing, so I want to make sure that I do the best I can with what I have.
I like that. Life is the longest thing I'm going to be doing.
That's awesome.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, it's a great quote, actually.
Sounds like the name of a song.
For real.
It's just how I feel. Like, it wasn't meant to be a quote. I don't really know what happens after you die, and I don't want to gamble, so I'm definitely going to do the best I can with the time that I have.
That's awesome. God bless you. Now, I have two fan-based questions that we like to ask. Is that okay to ask them? Okay, name your top 5 favorite bands.
Oh, boy.
That's not a fair question at all. Number one, I have to Led Zeppelin.
Led Zeppelin?
Yeah, but I also love Death Cab for Cutie. Ben Gibbard is a phenomenal songwriter. You know, the band that got me into rock and roll was Jethro Tull, and I love Jethro Tull.
Classic rock.
I have to say, the Beatles. I mean, I could. There's too many great songs from those four gentlemen.
Well, I can hear the influences in your
Yes,
music.
definitely. Okay, how many was that? 3?
And that's 4. And
4?
then John Mayer.
Oh, I love John Mayer. He's awesome.
Me
He's amazing.
too. He's not only the
Great lyrics.
guitar player.
Yes.
He is. He's just all around a good musician and
Yes.
a fantastic songwriter.
Great taste in music, young man. Okay, now the second one. If you can play in any other band, with any other band, who would it be?
Oh, man.
There you go.
It's a good one because I play so many instruments that it would be hard to pick what band and what instrument.
Gotta pick one.
If I had to pick one instrument forever, it'd probably be guitar, and I would love to play for John Mayer, like as a rhythm guitar player.
Just rhythm?
You can't compete against John Mayer. That wouldn't be fair at all. He would blow me out of the water.
That's funny.
Shoot for the moon, man.
Yeah.
That's all right. I've always wanted to play an instrument like Joe Satriani, and that was never happening.
Yeah.
Oh, what a killer guitar player.
We don't see that happening, Sherry.
I know. That's never going to happen. I love his music, though. So, Jason, where are you headed? Any concerts in the near future that anybody can come see you at?
What are you doing to keep yourself busy?
Tomorrow I'm playing Folsom Concert in the Bark. I'm playing drums, and Saturday I'm playing in Chico. I'm playing drums, and then next Friday, Saturday, and Sunday I play, but I can't remember where I'm playing. June 19th, Humble Wolf is playing First Festival, which is this is its second year running out in Sacramento. About 2,000 to 5,000 people come out to that, so that would be cool. It was like a lot of local bands. That's another good example of a local thing that's coming together. Tons of local bands. In fact, the whole festival is only local bands, and they got some really heavy hitting.
Where's that at?
Bands. The location I don't know, but if you type in First Festival Sacramento into Google or wherever, it'll come up.
Excellent.
I'm very excited about that. We've been looking forward. Humble Wolf has been preparing a special set list for that.
We do want to end out with one of your songs, but we want you to tell us a little bit about the last song. Can you tell us a little bit about how you wrote it, why you wrote it, and how deep this goes?
I wrote this song about my wife because it was kind of talking about, marriage is an interesting institution and how far can you take it and how deep does it go. And I had just moved to Australia. My wife is Australian, and so I had moved to Australia to be with her, and so it was kind of like selling everything I owned in America and moving to Australia. So it's kind of like no holds barred. Let's see where it goes.
Oh, that is so sweet. Don't you think, Sheldon?
I do, and just play it.
I'm going to play it. How deep this goes.
Take my hand, I won't let you down. We've
Deep This Goes by Jason Angove. And amazing. Great.
Nice stuff, man.
Yes, this was my brother's favorite because he sat today and listened to these songs on YouTube with me. And this one, he was his favorite. He was banging his hand on the table with like drums, and he was just all into it.
That's awesome.
Well,
yeah, it was great.
that is an endorsement right there.
Yes, sir.
I'll take it.
So, Sheldon, you wanted to ask him one last question, you were telling me?
Yes, I don't have any of this music, Jason.
You don't have what?
I don't have any of this music. Would you please send it to me? I'd appreciate it.
I will send it to you today, absolutely.
Cool.
Awesome.
Cool.
Well, Jason,
and I will send you both Humble Wolf and new stuff as it comes out.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay. I'll definitely play it. For sure.
Thank you.
And I will too.
Yes. Well, we appreciate you being on the show tonight, Jason. Awesome.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
Your music's just fantastic, and I look forward to hearing more in the future, and I look forward to seeing you blossom and become this big star. I can see it happening.
And I feel very sad that Sherry got the music before I did.
Oh, Sheldon.
Well, she got it today, so she's only beating you by like 12 hours.
Oh, okay. All right. I feel better now. I'll try not to cry too much.
Thank you, audience.
Please don't.
Thank you, audience, for tuning in tonight and listening to Jason Angove and his wonderful music. Sheldon, thank you again for being here.
Sherry, as always.
Always, and I look forward to seeing you again next week, next Thursday night, 7 p.m.
And I look forward to hearing you again next week.
Yes, hearing you. Okay, I'll get all technical on you now. And Jason, we'll talk to you soon, and keep shining on, my friend.
All right, I will talk to you guys later, and you guys be good humans.
Yes, sir.
Love you, man.
Good night.
Love you guys, too.
It's 2 a.m. and I awake to the sound of violence. And he screams like my father always has. I hear her voice, and I know that she is crying. I hear her steps running towards my